Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into an updated, full-on breakdown of Bracketology here. I think this is 8.0. I haven't done one of these in a while. We're going to take a look at all the major metrics. What is the bracket matrix saying as we head into a crazy college basketball Saturday, the final regular season weekend, and then we've got the major conference tournaments happening next weekend. I think we've got a few tickets that are being punched today, kind of the mid-major tournaments. But guys, taking a look at the one line, there's a consensus. You've got Alabama, Houston, and Kansas all locked into one seeds for sure at this point, with people actually thinking Kansas might be the number one overall seed and they would go to the Midwest if that is the case, because Kansas, they've got crazy quad one wins, even though their net rating and their overall analytics aren't very good. All their wins are going to push them probably in front of Kansas and Alabama. Purdue is that fourth and final number one seed. Right now, the only question, will Purdue hang on to that final one seed, or will it be UCLA? And could it be better for UCLA to stay a two seed, to be in the West region, than being a one seed in the East? I think it's better to be a two seed and stay home in the West. But that is a question. Baylor, a consensus 2 seed. Texas right now, a consensus 2 seed. Arizona hanging on to that 2 line right now. I've seen brackets that have Marquette as a 2 seed. I've seen brackets that have had Kansas State as a 2 seed. There really is a lot of bickering right now. Is it Arizona? Is it Kansas State? Is it Marquette? Tennessee is a clear 3 right now. Gonzaga's on the 3 line. UConn, the metrics love them. They're atop of the 4 line. You've got Xavier as a solid 4 seed. Indiana, even after their terrible loss against Iowa, they're a solid 4 seed. Virginia, I'm not high on them. They're hanging on to the 4 line. If they become a 5 seed, watch out in a 5v12 matchup. TCU on top of the 5 line. St. Mary's, the analytics love them. They're a 5 seed and they're the number 1 overall seed in their conference championship in their conference tournament, the West Coast Conference. Miami, horrible. I think Miami, if they're in a 5v12 matchup, they're going to lose. Probably to Oral Roberts. San Diego State is a 5. Creighton, Iowa State, Kentucky, Northwestern, all on the 6 line right now. Duke has been a 7 seed for like a month. Texas A&M sitting on the 7 line. They've got a great record in the SEC. They've got a huge game against Alabama. If they beat Bama at home, they're moving up at least 1 full seed line today. MSU on the 7 line. Maryland as well. Even after that loss to Ohio State, they're still a 7 seed. You've got Iowa, Illinois, Arkansas. The analytics love Arkansas, and Missouri sitting as 8 seeds. Providence, FAU, Boise State, and Rutgers on the 9 line. Rutgers has really struggled recently, but they are still entrenched into the tournament. Unfortunately for Rutgers, they're possibly looking at the 8v9 matchup, which would match them up with a 1 seed in the second round. Memphis, NC State, and Pittsburgh with UCLA, all those teams pretty consensus into the tournament. And then getting to the actual bubble, West Virginia in basically every bracket. Nevada is in, Auburn is in, but they might have to play a first 4 game. Mississippi State in 89 out of the 91 bracket, so about 95, 96% of the brackets they're in. Arizona State, it's about 50-50 right now. They're on the bubble. Wisconsin, it's 50-50 as well. These are all the auto bids. I'm not really going to go through those. We'll just have to see if these teams end up winning. I do love Toledo out of the MAC with their offense. I think they're going to win their conference tournament over Kent State. I know that's another team out of the MAC that is really good. And then the other at-larges, you're going to have your North Carolinas. You're going to have Penn State, Michigan, Oklahoma State. They've got that bad record, but they've got a great strength of schedule in that conference. Clemson, they're done. They're in one bracket, and then New Mexico as well. So that's the overall look right now at the T ranking, and then, or that's the overall look at the bracket matrix, and then the T ranking, Houston still the number 1 overall team, Bama's at 2. They've got that road matchup with A&M. If they play really well, they're a full point behind Houston now, because Alabama hasn't been that good ever since that Brandon Miller situation happened. They've struggled. They've been winning, but like Auburn was beating them the entire game. It's not going to look good on the overall metrics. Tennessee, it's crazy, but I just think the metrics are going to continue to disagree on Tennessee. They're listed as the number 3 overall team, the number 1 defense in college basketball. UCLA at number 4. Seismic matchup with Arizona. That's a 10 o'clock start tonight. Purdue at the number 5 overall team here on T-Rank. UConn's up to 6. St. Mary's at 7. Zona 8. San Diego State shockingly 9. They've got Wyoming, who is terrible this year, at home, and Gonzaga, the number 1 offense in college basketball, at number 10. Baylor, Kansas is still at number 12, so there's just crazy disagreement on Kansas still. Creighton, Texas, Marquette, Arkansas, Xavier, A&M. I just want to see where is... it's almost like it was a misprint that they put Missouri on there. Why was Missouri... Am I losing my mind? Was that Missouri that was on here? Is Missouri an 8 seed? Are they seriously... Missouri. Dude, I don't remember seeing Missouri. Where is Missouri? Hold on, hold on. This just doesn't make any sense to me. This does not make any sense to me. I wonder if it's a misprint. 58th. Huh. Yeah, that's surprising to me that Missouri would be there. West Virginia, TCU, Kansas State, all the way down to 21. Kansas State's probably a team you're not going to want to pick to go deep in the tournament. Auburn at 22. They've got a huge matchup with Tennessee, Iowa State, Memphis, and then Michigan State, who gets Ohio State rounding out the top 25 there. Boise State, Kentucky, Duke in that rivalry game on the road at North Carolina, Maryland, Utah State. The analytics really like Utah State, but in terms of their tournament chances, it's real iffy right now. Indiana, FAU at 32. That's impressive. They've got a road matchup with Louisiana Tech. The one team that I am just shocked is an 8 seed right now is Missouri. How is Missouri? They have a really good offense. I don't know. They're 10-7 in the SEC, 22-8, but that surprises me. There's Drake. Drake is going to have to win their tournament. How about Washington State at 16-15? They are out of it. And then taking a look at the Ken Palm, you've got Houston, UCLA in front of Bama, Tennessee, UConn, Purdue, Kansas. Kansas at least up a little bit more on the Ken Palm. The overall thing to look at Ken Palm is luck. You can see Alabama inside of the top 25 in luck. Kansas inside the top 20. And then you have Gonzaga inside the top 70. Arizona been lucky this year. Baylor, or is that, yeah, that's Baylor. They've gotten some luck. San Diego State's gotten some luck. Kansas State's inside the top 65 in terms of luck. The luck metric, it's very important when you're filling out your bracket. But let's get to the actual bubble bracket watch. The top overall seed. It's very surprising that Alabama is the top overall seed with how they've played. I don't see it. I would go with Houston or Kansas. And then we have Arizona State, first team out. Last team in is Penn State. That'd be big for their team. And then last 4 byes, USC, Boise State, West Virginia, Auburn, Mississippi State, Nevada, Wisconsin, Penn State playing in the play-in. First teams out, Arizona State right on the bubble, UNC, Michigan still there, Utah State, and then the next 4 out. It's going to be hard for these teams to get in. Oklahoma State, Clemson, Charleston, and Oregon. I figure we would have seen Ohio State in here maybe. in the next 4 out. I mean, they've won some games recently. I'm just kidding. But let's take a look at how these regions actually look. You've got Alabama facing Providence or Rutgers. Providence may be a dangerous team there. Rutgers has struggled recently. TCU as a 5 seed. I think that's a weak 5 seed. They take on Bradley if Bradley wins their conference. Indiana, the 4 seed. Northwestern versus West Virginia. Marquette versus Furman. I don't think Furman is winning that conference. Kentucky versus USC. That's a heavyweight matchup. I think Kentucky wins that, though. And then Baylor versus Kennesaw State. And then in the Midwest, you have Kansas, the number 1 overall seed, taking on Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Illinois versus Memphis in a fun 8v9 matchup. St. Mary's, VCU, 5v12. I love that for St. Mary's. VCU, that conference has not been good. That's a very good draw for St. Mary's. Xavier, Yale. I really like Yale. Yale has very good guard play. Or was it guard play? I don't know. I saw some graph and it was like Yale is really good. I don't know. Iowa State, Auburn. Yeah, that's a good matchup for Auburn. Good matchup for Auburn. Gonzaga, Colgate. That's got to be a great matchup for high scoring. A&M versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's really weak. UCLA, Youngstown State. You've got to favor UCLA, obviously. In the East, so Purdue goes to the East. You've got Missouri, FAU. So FAU with that really good record. Miami, Oral Roberts. Yeah, there's the matchup. You want to avoid Oral Roberts if you're a 5 seed. Yeah, I would much rather face Iona. Iona's actually been quite disappointing this year. They've just lost some games in conference you wouldn't expect them to. UConn versus Toledo. I would want to avoid Toledo. If I'm like a 4 or a 3 seed, I don't want to face an elite offense. I know their defense is not good. I just don't want to face an elite offense. You've got Duke taking on Nevada or Penn State. So that's a bonus for Duke. You're facing a team that has had to already play, get more rest. Tennessee facing Southern Mississippi. Who is that? Who's that auto qualifier? I don't even know. Iowa, Boise State. That's a tough matchup for Iowa. And then Texas versus Eastern Washington. And then Houston gets shipped out a little bit to the west. They face UNC Asheville in a 1v16 game. Maryland takes on Arkansas. I like Arkansas. Creighton versus Iona. You have to favor Creighton there. Creighton is always a 5 seed. I swear every year Creighton is in a 5v12 matchup. Virginia and Utah Valley. That's the worst game of round 1. Virginia. No, Utah Valley just blew someone out last night. I think they scored 109. San Diego State versus Mississippi State or Wisconsin. Arizona, UC Irvine, you got to favor Arizona. They have Arizona down on the 3 line. MSU versus NC State, and then Kansas State. Yeah, so if this was actually the matchup, I guarantee you most of the brackets would have Michigan State beating NC State and then beating Kansas State. I'm guessing that's what would happen. And how about the Big Ten? The Big Ten is so average, it's getting everyone in the tournament. 10 teams in the tournament. The SEC's up to 8. The Big 12 is down to 7. The ACC has been really bad this year at 5. The Big East at 5. The Pac-12 has been horrible. It's just, will they get USC in or not? The Mountain West at 3. The West Coast with 2. And then the American with 2 as well. So that is the updated bracketology as we go into a very busy Saturday. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.